Welcome and mabuhay. Today we're at a maple syrup farm in Ontario, Canada, and we're seeing how maple syrup is made. Maple syrup is a staple of Canadian breakfast, so we thought we would compare Filipino breakfast to Canadian breakfast. They've both got their savory elements, they've both got sweet elements, so we're gonna see how maple syrup is made, and we're gonna talk about Longganisa and garlic fried rice, and we're gonna compare Canadian breakfast to Filipino breakfast.
First, I'd like to point out that people from all over the world call Canada home. So there really isn't anything that you could point to as being distinctly Canadian. However, there are just some things that Canada is known for, and one of them is maple syrup. I'm sure the same is true in the Philippines. Just as we know the Filipino breakfast, which we'll get into in a minute, there are endless other breakfast options, and I'm sure not everyone eats that particular meal every morning. So let's first look at maple syrup and how real maple syrup is produced and its historical and cultural significance in Canada. Canada's maple syrup producing regions include Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec, and here in Ontario, making up 85% of worldwide production. Springtime in Eastern Canada has the right mix of cold nights and warm daytime temperatures, which produces huge quantities of sap from red, black, and sugar maples. The trees here in our video are sugar maples. During late winter, early spring, starch in the trees turns to sugar, and that sugar mixes with water collected by the tree's roots, and the result is sap. The Indigenous Peoples of Canada were the first to discover maple syrup production, and they taught the European settlers how to harvest and process the liquid gold. For centuries before the first settlers arrived in Canada, the Indigenous people harvested the sap for its nourishing and healing properties. It was an important food source and helped them get through the harsh winters. The process involved tapping the trees in the spring after the first thaw, collecting the sap in containers made from birch bark or clay pots, and then boiling it until it thickens into syrup. For every 40 gallons of sap collected, they could produce 1 gallon of syrup. And the boiling process had to be precise. Boiling too much could create crystallization, and boiling too little meant the sugar content wasn't high enough to keep it from spoiling. In the decades and centuries since settlers arrived in Canada, the process has been refined. Cast iron pots were used for a while to speed up the process and allowed for higher volume production, but the syrup had a bit of an aftertaste. It tasted like pennies. The process was eventually refined further to the point that they could produce a high volume of syrup while retaining the natural woody and sweet flavor. One of the many traditions still enjoyed today that early settlers learned from the Indigenous peoples is taking the heated syrup and pouring it into fresh snow. After a couple minutes, the syrup cools down and partially solidifies, creating a maple taffy, and it was so delicious.
How is it?
Here. Okay.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh my god.
Getting all over your clothes. So good,
Just
right?
pure maple syrup, straight from the trees. Nothing added, it's just boiled down.
I told you, Mom.
It's so yummy, right?
We all need to take a shower and
Yeah.
a
Grace
bath now. We're all so sticky. You a little sticky, Grace?
You got sticky hair now.
For years, maple sugar was the cheap primary sweetener in North America until the introduction of cane sugar in 1875. Today, real maple syrup is very expensive, and a barrel of the stuff is exceedingly more expensive than an equivalent-sized barrel of oil. Okay, so with all that information out of the way, we can finally dig into these pancakes, and we're gonna crack open this bottle of 100% real maple syrup tapped from a maple tree at the farm we were just at. This is Mountsburg maple syrup. It's the real deal. There's no preservatives. There's nothing added to it. It's literally just sap from a tree. It's been boiled down to the perfect consistency. And we're gonna give it a try right now.
It was made by Santa Claus.
And it was made by a guy that looked like Santa Claus.
Oh my gosh, it looks so good.
Looks so good.
Look at this.
Okay, ready? Everyone get a fork? So Canadian breakfast also includes, like the stereotypical Canadian breakfast also includes hash browns, pea meal bacon, and eggs. So good. Try one. Okay, I'm gonna try it with some pancakes.
Mine too.
Yum.
That maple syrup is like unbelievable.
Unbelievable!
It almost has like a smoky flavor to it. It's so delicious.
Let's go.
It's really good.
It's sweet, but not too sweet.
It tastes natural,
Yeah.
right?
Like the store-bought ones are like so sweet.
Yeah,
and so sugary.
even the ones in the stores that say real maple syrup or actual maple syrup, they're usually not just pure 100% maple syrup. They usually have something else in them. Eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it. You got it, eat it. This is not as sweet as like a regular store-bought maple syrup.
Yeah.
Let's get some more syrup on there. Oh,
Yummy.
a little bit of egg, a little bit of pancake, some maple syrup, and some egg yolk in there. If you're enjoying this video, please give us a thumbs up. It lets us know that we're on the right track and making content that you enjoy. And please subscribe to see more Filipino Canadian videos.
And don't forget to hit the bell button.
So maple syrup is the most well-known sweet ingredient in Canadian breakfast. Now let's look at the most well-known sweet food in Filipino breakfast. Longganisa is a popular sausage in the Philippines, and it's believed to have originated from Spain, although some accounts say it originated from Mexico. The first Spanish settlements were established by conquistadors from New Spain, aka Mexico. Either way, it's safe to say that this style of sausage can be linked back to Spain. In the Philippines, different regions and islands have their own versions of longganisa, and some are savory and some are sweet. The sweetness can come from sugar, calamansi, pineapple juice, even banana ketchup. Other ingredients include ground pork, garlic, vinegar, chili peppers, ginger, the list goes on. According to Kat's family, sweet longganisa sausage with garlic fried rice, eggs, and some fresh fruit is the go-to Filipino breakfast, and that's what we're gonna eat today. Oh wait, there's no fruit. But this is actually a little bit different because we went and picked this up today at Rico's in Hamilton. They actually suggested that we get.
Casino.
Yeah.
So we've got some fried eggs, just like the Canadian breakfast. We've got garlic fried rice, which I guess could be like equivalent to the pancakes maybe, or the hash browns, I guess. And then right here we have, I think it's pickled, what is this? Pickled something.
Here, guys, you try it.
It's very vinegary. So here's the famous Longganisa sausage. Which should I grab one and go for it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try Longganisa sausage. So I did try some that we bought from Seafood City, but that's my only experience with it, and I found that to be super sweet. So I'm like really curious to see how sweet this is gonna be, but. Oh,
I want to try one.
Okay, go ahead. Try one.
that's really nice. That's actually a lot less sweet.
Yeah.
That's way better, yeah. Oh, that's really good.
Rico's did it right.
You like it?
Tastes like maple syrup to candy.
That's right, with some rice, some garlic fried rice.
So good.
That was good.
How about we put the rice on here?
Okay.
Okay, go for it. How's that combo?
Good.
Yeah? Okay, I'm gonna try some of this now. So this is tocino. We've never bought this before. That's good. And it's got like, you see like there's like chunks of fat on there. It's got a little sweetness too, but it's not as sweet as the longganisa.
This reminds me of home.
Of Longganisa.
That's yummy. But to me, like growing up here in Canada, this is like a dinner, not breakfast, you know?
You know
That's really good sausage though. So that sausage is like really tender, and the casing around it has like a nice pop to it when you bite into it, like that snap, but it's like easy to bite through. Inside though, it's like really soft and tender.
I feel like it's a good sausage for kids because it's sweet.
I feel like I just had breakfast and dinner back to back. While the Canadian breakfast and the Filipino breakfast may have different flavors and ingredients, they both represent the unique cultures and cuisines of their respective countries. Something as simple as breakfast or its unique ingredients can have a surprisingly rich history and play a more significant cultural role than it might seem on the surface. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there really isn't a typical Canadian breakfast, and I think the fact that we got Filipino breakfast from a Filipino restaurant here in Canada is proof of that. No matter where you're from, here in North America, the first meal of the day can be whatever you want it to be. Whether you're craving the sweet flavors of the Canadian wilderness, or you want a little taste of back home and want some sweet Filipino longganisa sausage, it's all Canadian breakfast. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then check out this video next. No wait, this video next. I don't know.
This video.
Which way is it? I'm trying to think. No, if we're looking at it like this,
That'd be funny.
then it's gonna be over there.
And don't forget to hit the bell button.
It's your favorite line.